Hey everybody, welcome to Shit I Love with Jason Stewart. That's me. I'm really excited today because I have a genuinely really close friend here on the show. My friend Marcie Smolin.
Hi, Jason Stewart.
Actress.
Yes.
Director, producer.
Mm-hmm.
And really best known these days as the owner and runner, I guess.
Director
of, is he called the director of?
Yeah.
Of the Actors Circle in West LA, California.
Culver City.
Culver City. Okay, not West LA. But,
I love West LA.
But it is West LA to me.
Okay, well, anything west of here is West LA to you.
So Marcie and I met when we were both doing stand-up comedy and both actors. And Marcie sort of evolved into this in sort of this way and has created this incredibly wonderful school with tons and tons of people. I think one of her most successful students is Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who you had when he was a kid, right?
When he was a kid. Not at the Actors Circle, though. I taught him at Center Stage LA, which was owned by a wonderful acting coach.
I didn't know you did other places.
Yeah, that's where I got my start.
Oh, wow.
So that's where I taught him. Yeah, I taught at Center Stage LA when I was like 19 years old.
Wow.
And 5 years ago. And then when I got so busy with stand-up and acting, I stopped for
I did not know that. So you did it before.
I did it before. I stopped for many years. And then I got in a horrible accident. I got knocked off a 22-foot ladder, and I was in a wheelchair for a little bit. I couldn't walk. And I was like, well, until I get back on my feet, I can't do stand-up.
Because stand-up means standing up.
Yeah, I mean, really not. There are wonderful...
Sit-down comics.
Yes, there are wonderful
Bill
ones.
Cosby.
Yes.
He's
a lay-down comic these days.
Or passed out. Can't say that anymore, boy.
Yeah, you sure can.
I did not know that.
And the owner of Center Stage LA, where I taught when I was like a kid, I was like 19, he called me, wrong number. And I said, is this Kevin? And he said, yes. I go, this is Marcie Smolin. He goes, oh my God, Marcie, do you still coach actors? I'm looking for someone to fill in for one of my classes. And I said, well, I can't walk right now. And he goes, so sit. And I went and I taught that class that night. And he was wanting to lighten his workload at that point. He was older. And I started teaching right away a bunch of his classes. And then he wanted to sell the business. And he sold the business to someone else.
Oh, God.
And she ran it into, well, I don't want to talk about that. It's not nice. But anyway, we reacquired the business and changed the name to the Actors Circle 15 years ago now.
So it really is the same place. It just has a different name and a different person.
Well, no. Yeah, different name and different building. We built our building in Culver City, so we have this great space. You've been to this space.
Yeah, it's lovely.
It's an amazing
lovely.
space. I love it. And we've been there. Well, Kevin's retired many, many years ago.
Yes.
He was only with me for the first 3 years. And then he retired. So
Isn't
I bought
that
him
funny?
out. Yeah.
So basically, you just really created your own space with somebody basically...
He taught me a lot.
A prank call.
A wrong number brought me back to what I love.
Isn't that interesting?
Because, before that I'd gotten in the accident, I was sort of ready to phase out of touring as a stand-up. I remember I was on stage in Vegas, and I had a great show. And I went, wow, okay. I've done everything I wanted to do as a comic. I've been on all the talk shows. I've, done all of that. I've worked everywhere I want to work. People are standing up right now. I could go out like this and phase into something else. Because I think that's kind of what life is about.
Well, that was the days when they had all these shows that we could do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I see people now just starting, and I'm like, oh, wow, it would be rough to start as a stand-up now.
Well, now comics have to actually pay to work in some places, which really shocks me, or they have to be audience bringers, or they, and the social media has really, gotten out of hand. And I always think sometimes that we're just social mediaing ourselves in this little circle. So you did your comedy, and then you also worked on some really great shows. You worked on Picket Fences. You worked on Brothers Garcia. You did a movie with John Candy. I remember. I
was in the movie that John Candy died in.
I remember you. It was called
Wagons East.
Wagons East. I remember you called me on the phone. You said, "Oh my God, I have to play a prostitute. Do you think I have to wear these skimpy clothes? Jason, should I do this?" I said, "Yes."
I really was wearing skimpy clothes.
Yes, you were wearing. It took place in the 1800s.
Yes.
So you were wearing these little
the booby corset,
bloomers. So it really wasn't skimpy. That's what I remember saying to you. You said, "Yeah,"
right.
And because it's the first time I think you had ever had to wear something like that in underwear in a movie. You know, that's what I remembered. But it wasn't really
yeah.
it wasn't really underwear.
No, because when I was on the soap, I had to wear tube tops and things like that. But yeah, when I was a barn slut. But
Isn't that funny?
I had the slut years as an actress.
And
not really in real life. I just mean there was something I put off at some point.
Definitely.
But that movie was a crazy historical moment because, sadly, because we were filming and found out that John Candy, who was the star of the film, had passed away.
Had he finished all his scenes?
No.
Oh my God.
No, we were in Durango, Mexico.
I remember. Because you were nervous about going to Mexico too, because it was a time that it wasn't when people filmed there a lot.
No, and it was not
really
anywhere
weird.
I'd ever heard of.
It was also weird to film there. Yeah.
It was weird. It was weird. The whole cast. This was so long ago. It was such a flashback, but the whole cast we were really friendly. We all were together in this hotel because nobody else spoke English. It was a small, like, dirt road town, and they built this whole set, this whole old Western, a huge Western set in the town.
Wow.
Yeah, and
who else was in the movie? There were some other cool comedians, right?
Richard Lewis.
Oh my God!
Yes. Do you know I have been on 2 TV series with Richard Lewis, and I've never met him. I mean, I've been on a movie with Richard Lewis and a TV series that I had a recurring role in, and I've never met him in person. Isn't that bizarre?
I met him once at the Improv when they used to have an Improv in the Valley, and my sister came with me, and he was very attracted to her. And she blew him off, and I think, oh my God, if she would have married him, she wouldn't have been an Orthodox Jew, and our whole family wouldn't have fallen apart. So every time I see Richard Lewis, I say to him, Richard, you actually should have tried harder because you ruined our entire family is ruined.
Let's blame him for other things.
Yes, definitely. Oh my God. So you really got to do a lot of things, and in acting, you got to work with a lot of interesting people.
Oh, yeah.
As you knew, the comedians are incredibly helpful and supportive of each other. I feel that's been, the basis of a lot of my career. 50% of my career is other comedians being supportive.
You were amazing. You were always amazing to me. I
have
to say that, yes.
Oh, I'm so surprised. Really?
Well,
I didn't know that. Well, thank you. That came out of nowhere.
No, well, it's true. You were.
You came on the road with me
a lot.
But these weren't these gigs that we did.
Oh,
we did one. Did we do one in St. Louis where you came with me?
Yes.
Yes.
The Funny Bone.
Yeah, I did. That's where I was really popular, and I could bring anybody I wanted to open for me. Anybody. In those days that was really rare because they didn't do that. You weren't allowed to pick. They had people in rotations, and it wasn't easy to get into those. And I remember we did that. And then I remember we did a lot of what I call bus and truck tours, but there was no bus and no truck.
We worked together so much.
In the car. You, me, and Claudia Lano.
Oh, yes.
Who's a big writer-producer now.
She's fantastic, yes.
And we're very proud of her. And she just directed her own little short film.
With her daughter.
Yes, I can't remember the name of it.
With Izzy.
Something about tampons.
Yes. Keep calm and tampon.
Yeah, something like that. And I wanted to see it, but I've been working all the times it was. So if Claudia's listening, congrats, my dear.
And congrats to Izzy.
Yes.
Too.
Yes, her daughter.
Her daughter's amazing.
Yes. 3 generations were in the movie, apparently.
I remember the day she was born.
Yeah? Oh, yeah. So we would go on these road gigs where we would actually drive in cars. And a big shout out to Rick Farah and who was the other guy that we worked for all the time? Baseball guy. And we worked for him. Paul Massier. Who I saw.
And David Tribble.
I think you did David Tribble. I didn't do a lot of his. Those were too far for me. And
they were far.
Too scared. But we would do these things where we drive. Bob Zanies. Yeah, we drive for hours and hours and hours. And
that club. Do you remember that club in Palm Springs? What was the woman? Phyllis.
Did you do her?
Yes, with you.
Oh my God! I guess.
And that. Oh my gosh! I'm so sorry.
That's
oh my God! I'm so sorry.
That's okay. We've had phones ring. And
okay, well, it's off now.
But Phyllis Silver, she would make you, and if she's alive and listening to her, I hated her for this.
Oh.
She would make you. You do the shows. I think it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Maybe it was 4 days or 3 days of shows. And then she would make you wait at the last day because it's only 2 hours to get home from Palm Springs, or an hour and 45 minutes, right?
Right.
Late at night. So you'd want to go after the 10 o'clock show so you could sleep in your bed. You'd be home Monday morning. And she'd make you wait like an hour to get paid. I mean, whatever the couple $100
were
that we were making.
That condo was so dirty. Oh, So I still have flashbacks.
Did we sleep in the same room?
I think probably.
We did.
We did a lot.
Because the drag queen who was the middle act there, you'd have an opening act and you'd have a headliner, and then you had a drag queen who was the middle act, and I forgot his name, and he would sing "I Am Who I Am" and take off his wig. Remember?
Yes. Jason and I had a series of gigs where we were terrified and stayed in the same room.
Oh,
Copperopolis with
yes,
bullet holes in the door.
Famous one. And tell the story. Go ahead. You tell it, and I'll interrupt. But go ahead. We drove there, and it looked like Psycho. The hotel looked like it was on a hill. It looked like Psycho. I swear to God.
This story is actually in a book.
It is?
Yeah, it's in the book I Killed. The one that...
Oh, you told it?
Yeah, the Mark Schiff and
I think I may be in it. I don't remember. But go
I
ahead.
have a couple stories in there. But so we were told that we would be performing at a resort, and we were going to be there for 3 days, and there was going to be, pools and luxury rooms, and we drive there, and it's basically you drive to Yosemite and then you turn left instead of right,
and up a hill where there's nothing there but that hotel. And
well, first you have to cross this bridge with like this little one of those wire bridges that you go across the water, and we were screaming because we thought we were going to die the whole time. And then you get there, and it's just like cement, a bunker, and one oil slick with like one dying duck on it, and that was the pond they told us about.
It was like a long hotel, right?
Yeah,
and then there was
it looked like a bunker,
but there was a
long prison.
Yeah, it was like a long. But there was, and then there was a bar with a back room.
Yes,
and that's where we did our show, if I remember.
And
Claudia Lano,
and myself,
and me.
Yeah,
you were the featured actor.
I was the feature. Claudia's the opening. Claudia started at the end of her act. Started doing.
She was the beginning, so she was like the sacrificial lamb.
Yeah, and she closed with a Jewish rap song. And
oh
in the middle,
my God!
Yeah,
yes.
and as she was singing, somebody stood up and he yelled, and the audience yelled, "Woo! I'm in the mood to kill me a Jew."
And we looked at each other like it was the last day of our lives.
We were sure. And then we went to the showroom manager, and we told him, and he goes, "Oh, yeah, I can't say anything to him. He's the warden of the state prison." And then that was also a time that I like to call my lingerie years, when I would perform. I don't remember in like
the bustiers
and like lingerie skirt, and so they thought I was a stripper. So they were yelling, "Take it off!" And then
I went up.
Jason went up,
and this is before I was out.
He was not out, but they maybe had an inkling.
Yes, I think so.
And it was all men in the audience, and they all looked like ZZ Top.
And it was not a big crowd, so they could, we could sort of count the people and know that we were going to get, that we would know who would be raping us or killing us later.
Oh my God! Well, then Claudia and I walked to the bathroom
after the show. I remember.
And we come out of the bathroom, and these two guys come up to us, and they go, "We really loved your show. Let me show you how much." And one of them just unzipped his pants and introduced us to Mr. Happy. And so we go up to the manager of the hotel, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, I should have told you girls not to go in the bathroom. We've had a little trouble with rapings." And then Jason came out, and we go, "Well, okay, let's go to there was like this outdoor bar they told us."
But I remember walking in. Was it manager? I think it was Les. I think it was the waitress there. Was a woman who might have had something happen to her. I mean,
I never remember seeing any women there at all. I think it was like all men.
But there was one woman. They would wear like a little I remember specifically the costume. It was like with a full skirt and a top. She looked like a Denny's waitress.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, and I think she was the one that said that to you. "Oh, honey, you got to be careful here. There's a couple people are getting raped." Rapings.
It was a verb there.
But I also think she said it. If I'm wrong, you tell me. I think she said, "Did you go in that bathroom? You shouldn't have done that. Don't go in there. Nobody goes in there." And you guys looked at each other like, "Oh my God!"
Oh, could have told us. Then we were going to go down. They had this outdoor bar, and we're like, "Well, let's try and have a little festivity here." And as we're walking down there, somebody grabs one of us by the shoulder and says, "Oh, you don't want to go there. We've been having a little trouble with shootings." So the three of us basically ran to our rooms. We had 3 rooms. And we all stayed and slept in the same bed, in the same room, and pushed the furniture against the door, and there were bullet holes in the door. It was my room. Yeah, there were bullet holes in the door. And we tried to get out of the gig the next night, and they wouldn't let us. So basically,
did we do it? I think we
yes,
left.
we did. No, it was like the end of Sound of Music. It was like Edelweiss. Claudia went on and went and got the car, and we packed the car before, and she pulled it up, and then I got on, and then you got off on it.
Edelweiss, Edelweiss.
And as you finished your show, you backed out the back door, got in the car, and we sped out of there.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Whose car were we driving on that gig? We were driving, it wasn't my car, it wasn't your car, it was Claudia's husband's or Claudia's mom's. And we drove this car because it was a little bigger, I remember, and there was 3 of us, and we wanted to have room for luggage.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was this one, and it was raining, and we were going up a hill, and Claudia kept saying, "Don't mess up this car, I'll get you know." And I think you had your head out the window telling us where to go, or Claudia.
Well, it was before, like, we were. It was like a Thomas guide.
Yeah.
We didn't have like our iPhones with maps.
No, or just a fax printout of of directions.
I mean, that's how I went on the road.
Me
with
too.
Like folders of fax printouts and a Thomas guide.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think I went before they had the Thomas guides.
No, Thomas guides been around forever.
Oh, have they? Okay.
Yeah, like 100 years. But how did we do that? Like, I go back.
I did the whole East Coast colleges like that. And I would literally drive by a school because there was all this beautiful foliage in front of it. You couldn't see things. It was really, and I would drive by the whole school and not even realize that I hadn't, and I'd get my cell phone that you open up and pull the thing out, and you have to get out of the car because you can't do it while it's, can you hear me? I'm over here and there's a trick. Honey, you're in front of the school. Yeah, just drive back. It's around a mile. I remember, and then I get there and I couldn't find anything. It was always very hard. And then you'd have that scroll paper, that came out of the fax machines. Yeah, that my agent would send me from New York. Oh, God. Wow. So thank God you're an acting coach now. You don't have to do this shit anymore.
Well, I actually did. The crazy thing is, last year, I get a call from somebody. These people were doing a comedy special. Someone had recommended me, and it was all female comics of a certain age, 23, and it was for Purple Clover, the website Purple Clover.
I don't know if it is.
It's a great website, and but it was filmed, and for some reason, they said, "We want you to be a part of it," and it was really surreal because I showed up, and I was like, after I said yes, I hung up and I went, "Oh my God, what am I thinking?" I've been standing in years, and my first thing back is going to be like filmed. A TV show. So
how did you prepare?
Showed up, and it was like Kathy Lapman and Wendy Liebman and Jackie Cation, and
oh my God,
and it seems like nobody had noticed I hadn't been working. Like, oh, hi, how are you?
Right.
Like, I'd been gone for 8 years. No one had noticed. Is that hilarious? Like, they just thought I'd just been doing.
But how did you prepare? That's a long time away from. I'm away a couple of weeks, and I think
Yeah, I wrote all new stuff, which was crazy.
Insane.
I had a week's notice. And they went over it a couple times. They would call you and go over it with you, and part of it was storytelling, and part of it was stand-up. And I have the blog, so
right. Oh, thank God it was storytelling.
Yeah, so and storytelling. I write a story, every week. So, and a couple friends of mine put me in their shows, and I did a couple shows, and then taping it though. Weirdest stand-up taping ever, because between the two of us, we've done every show on the air, right? Stand-up wise, and usually you have an audience to interact with. They had us in a big, huge armchair in a little tiny sound stage, and just the crew. And they were like to the crew, "Don't laugh, you can't laugh." And
they had the laughs later.
Yeah, and then
how insane!
And you're just alone in a chair, and they filmed you from below, so we all looked like Jabba the Hutt.
Well, in a way, it's better because you don't have to worry about the reaction from the audience. You could just tell the stories, and
but it's weird.
But
it's timing.
Yes, because somebody who's a comic, it's weird.
Yeah.
Yes, but in a way, it would be easier to do. I would feel a little more comfortable that if I was doing brand new material, because then you don't have to worry about where the laughs are. You just be able to tell the story and do it well.
And then I found out afterwards, after I signed my life away and didn't read anything because I'd been away from it for a while, that it was a promo for bladder control panties. And that They titled my segment "Confessions of an Accidental Middle-Aged Tinkler." So
Oh
when I
my
was
gosh.
younger, I did 3 tampon commercials and a douche commercial, and now I get to add bladder control
How could you
bandages.
do 3 Tamp commercials? They
I
let
did
you.
1 and 2 sequels, same
Oh,
character.
so same product.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I could see. Oh gosh, she can't do
yeah.
tampons. She's already done
No,
tampons.
I the same tampon.
What was it? Tampon is a product. That is
Tampax.
Tampax. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh god, that's hysterical.
I know a very illustrious career, Jason.
So tell me about coaching. It's so funny because we haven't really talked about this, and this is what I love about the show. And I think that so many people want to be actors these
Yes.
days. And Josh Brolin was on What the Fuck, Mark Maron's show, which I also was so lucky to get to do. And Josh was talking about the whole idea of how far we have gotten away from the work in some respects, and how
Yes.
your school originally is not anymore, but originally was younger people, right? Kids and teens and 20s, and now you've graduated into all ages.
Most of my classes are adults. Actually.
Now, but you have a lot of experience with people who have no experience.
Yeah.
Young people who would come to you,
Mm-hmm.
and so you really know about all of this, the idea of these kids coming, and they're so impressed with the Kardashians and rappers and all these people who come out of, basically, we used to call them one-hit wonders. They would have a hit song, but at least they could sing, or at least they were on a commercial they were funny on, or there was some sort of talent. I mean, the only thing I can compare it to is the Gabor sisters, but they were all so funny.
TV has been so dangerous. Reality TV, and the other thing that's going on right now, because I've been doing this for so long. I've seen so many phases. You as an acting coach, you constantly have to adapt. Like now, I have to be not only an acting coach, but a videographer, an editor, and a computer genius.
Right.
Because when I coach people now privately, I also have to tape them. I have to edit them. I have to upload their tape, and I have to submit it for them. But in the when
which
we
you do well.
I do that. Yeah. I do it all.
And you have it, so if people want to audition, they go to you in your studio.
Yeah, I do it all. I do that every day. But when we first, were younger actors, there weren't that many people in the room, and you would pick up your sides, and you would go to your audition, and you would go to acting class.
No, you would drive to pick up the sides.
Pick up your sides, yeah.
If it would be 20th Century Fox, you have to drive across town or drive to the, pick up your sides, take them home, and then the next day you would go in and read.
Yeah, and then, breakdown services started to have, show facts.
Right.
Then there was show facts. But you had an agent. It was so hard to get in the union. All you wanted to do was get in the union. And then it was this elite community. And then we all worked because we had gone to acting class and we had studied and we continued to study. And now there is YouTube and everybody's making their own things. And that's great. I support it. I love it. I love webisodes. I love everything.
Some great work coming out of it.
There's great work, but on the flip side, there's also this a very pedestrian side of it. Anyone can make a movie now.
Do you remember how hard it was to do a student film and to actually get your... That's why they called it a reel, because it was on a reel. You know how hard it was to get your... Right. You would do a film and you do a great performance and you'd wait a year sometimes to get your reel.
Now I have people start my class. And they, when people are first starting, like Jason said, one of your first goals is to get a reel. But before that, be in acting class for a while. Get good. You don't want to be somebody who's in a hurry and walk in the room and meet a casting director and be greener than green. They remember that.
And how hard it is I don't mean to interrupt you, but how hard it is to get back.
Yeah.
Once you, especially if you're somebody who's really good looking and you came in there because your look was it, and then all of a sudden you don't have the chops. And
they're all excited about you because they see your picture.
Exactly, but it's not always that you're not a good actor. It's just that you're not ready.
You're not ready.
Yeah.
And there's no shame in not being ready. I have a lot of respect for actors who wait, for actors who study. Actors should always be in class in some way. It's like going to the gym. You were talking about when you feel rusty when you didn't do stand-up.
Let's take just a little break, and we're going to talk more about this because I'm really fascinated, but we have to do a little commercial. And this is my commercial that I do that supports our show. You're home away from home in Silver Lake, Casa Crawford. In strolling distance from Echo Park and Silver Lake, Casa Crawford is the perfect bed and breakfast. It's a home away from home. It's 3 miles from downtown and Hollywood. And you get this really large bedroom that has original artwork in it, and it has an incredible, gorgeous view of the hills. So for reservations, call my friend Scott at 323-663-1664. That's 323-663-1664. Anyway, back to you.
I want to stay there. That sounds awesome.
It's nice. It's in Silver Lake, and he's our. You said, you have any sponsors? I said, yeah, one.
Well, yay! That sounds like a lovely place.
Yes, people all over the country want to come to Hollywood and see stuff.
And it's nice to know of a place that's good,
that's safe and close to
clean and
close
nice.
to the bus stops and everything, so you can go wherever you're going to go.
Well, yay! Go stay there, everybody.
But so. Now, how many times do you get people that come to class that want to be, we used to call it, you want to be a star. And we all wanted to. That's how we started. I know that I did.
Right.
And then I realized that I started to fall in love with the work, honestly.
You should love acting. I mean, I always tell people, do it till you fall in love with it and then start pursuing it. And the other thing that I always tell people is, walk before you run. Why are you in a hurry?
Well, I read somewhere that a friend of Barbra Streisand said, hey, my daughter wants to be an actress. Can she meet you? And she said, yes, I'd love to meet her. I don't know if she said I'd love to meet her, but she said, yes, I would meet her. And she said, and then the girl,
I'd love to meet Barbra Streisand.
So what I do. And the first question the girl says to Barbara is, hey, do you think I should be an actress? And she said, if you have to ask me, no. And I think that's really it. It's something, because it's not the work that's the hardest thing to do. It's the searching for work constantly. It's the not working.
You have to love it. I mean, I can't do anything else. I mean, I love coaching. But
coaching, you are sort of, because you're in the process.
Right.
You're in the creative zone. I mean, you're an actor.
I'd taken a long break from acting, and now I've gone back. And, we talked about being rusty, and I said, I cold read every day of my life. So
that's what I'm saying. You really haven't stopped.
I cold read a lot.
You haven't stopped acting. What you was pursuing.
Yeah.
That's the difference. Yeah. And now you're just back in the race again. And also, we were talking on the phone saying it's not just that you're back in the race. You can do what you want to do.
It's a nice feeling.
Yeah, because this is not you have the school and you have a way of making your living, honestly.
I have the school and I am coming back to it. I'm happy. I just love acting, so I'm not hugely picky, and I have a resume. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm coming back to it, having to search for.
Well, for me, now at this age of my life, after being a Birth of a Nation, I feel similarly that I have a resume, I have a body.
I'm so happy for you.
Oh, thank you.
I am. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy for you.
But I feel like I have a body of work, so I don't have to do everything. It's the first time in the last 3 years that I felt that way.
It's nice, isn't it?
And as I always say, as an older person to people, is that you have to set up your life so you can do your work and do your best work. And if you don't know what your money situation is, you don't know what your living situation is, and you have to know if you want lots of stuff, this is not the job for you.
No. Because
most of us don't have lots of stuff. We have our apartments or our condos, or you have a nice car, but you can't get a new car every 2 years. That can't be your thing, unless you own a school like you. But I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying. There's certain things that you have to give up, and it has, it can't be about having tons of clothes and things and stuff.
Sometimes people will start and they think they're going to make a lot of money, and I just laugh. I mean, some people do.
Yes.
Some people make
my friend Tiffany Haddish, my God.
She's so wonderful.
But she worked so hard.
That's the thing.
She went to class, and she did every gig, and she did everything, and she worked on new material, and she even, I remember speaking to her on the phone, God, it must have been 10 years ago when she was married to that guy, maybe 8 years ago, whenever it was. And I remember her being sad and, knowing that she made the wrong choice and it's slowing her down. And, but she just went right back to the grindstone and she worked hard. And I see her new show, The Last OC, and man,
She's hilarious.
But she's really, I don't know if you've seen the show, she plays a
not.
completely different character.
Oh, wow.
She plays a woman who's gotten out of the ghetto and now is really, really a player. And she's very conservative in it.
Oh, that's
And it's
great.
like, and I was like, I called, texted her and I said, man, you are just, now I see why you wanted to do this. It's like it's so different from her part in Girls Trip.
Well, you make a good point in that she worked so hard.
Oh my God.
When we were in the trenches doing stand-up, Jason and I were such road warriors.
But I never stopped going to acting class.
You never stopped going to acting class.
And I never stopped pursuing my acting career, and never stopped all that stuff.
But even just using stand-up as a point, we were such road warriors, and there was people who wanted to work at the clubs, and they never wanted to go on the road. And you just don't get going on the road. And facing every different experience makes you ultimately better.
I think so, because it's consistent.
Right.
Whereas working here in town, it's
for
doing
10 minutes at a time or
10,
whatever.
20 minutes doing the show. Right.
Yeah.
Or working at some bar in front of your friends is really not the same as stand-up.
And as far as acting, you're never done. You're never done growing, ever. Because as human beings, look at how we grow all the time. So we always grow as artists. I mean, you, Jason, I'll just, take, for example, the kind of work you used to do and the roles you're doing now. Mm-hmm. From a hilarious gay guy to Birth of a Nation.
Right. Tons of sitcoms is what I did.
Yeah. And then you played that guy, and you were brilliant in that, by the way.
That's too kind.
And Jason's flinging folders at me. What did I do? Stop throwing papers at me.
I'm compulsive, so I want to put the commercial away so I don't forget where it is.
All right.
Go ahead. You can talk.
I'm talking about brilliant you are. Don't stop me.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but so tell me in your class,
how
many classes do you teach?
I teach 7 classes a week.
Wow.
I know.
Tell me when they are.
Monday and Tuesday night at 7 is adults. Wednesday afternoon at 7 is adults. Wednesday night is teenagers. Saturday morning is little kids. Saturday afternoon is older tweens.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
And then I coach privately during the day, and I take people for auditions, or I don't coach on set as a general rule. I don't really like it. But,
really? Why?
Because I am also an actress, and I don't like being on set in any capacity other than an actress, a writer, or a director.
Oh, wow. See, I love being on a set.
I love being on a set, too, but I like being on the set in that capacity. I just know myself. I do sometimes. Or I'll do an emergency. Uh-huh. I'd love to tell you my favorite emergency acting coaching story.
Please tell.
I am available to my students 24/7 because, callbacks come back up at the last minute. Auditions come up at the last minute. It just happens. And
more so now than they ever have.
Yeah.
People have no sense of anything anymore.
No.
There's no, okay, hey, it's 11 o'clock at night,
Right.
Not at all. In certain countries, I think it's France or Italy, they're not allowed to send an email after a work email after 6 o'clock, after the work day is over. Can you imagine?
Wow.
Somebody stopping here from doing that? How could they do it?
One night I was fast asleep. It was 2 a.m. and one of my students called me, and he was freaking out. And he is, I will not say his name. He doesn't mind me telling the story as long as I don't use names. He is a very, very successful actor. And someone who, I have people at the studio. I always tell people, if you drive by the studio and you see the lights are not on in the lobby, but there's a really fancy car parked in the back, someone really famous is in there. Because I do a lot of my celebrity coaching late at night. They don't want people to know they're being coached.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, it's okay. I don't mind.
Well, people want privacy,
too.
So
they come in through the back door.
Also, they don't want people, paparazzi or people
following
them.
Right. So, and this was one of my more successful clients. And he was doing a love scene that involved nudity. Not a full nudity, but partial nudity. And he came out in his, sock.
Oh, wow. That's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Especially if you've never done it before.
Yeah. And he had been a successful teen and young actor. Now he became this was a few years back. And the actress started pointing at him and laughing that he was about to do a love scene with.
Wow.
And
why would someone do that?
Well, because the little pasty things they put on you to cover your bits when you're doing a love scene. Men they put a sock on, and women they cover the nipples and they cover. It's all pasted on, and it's not porn. So it's tasteful, and they also do it as protection. And so she thought it was really funny, and she's laughing and laughing and laughing. And so he called. He was back in his trailer, and he goes, can you come down here?" And I said, "Okay."
Oh.
And I went down there, and he goes, "I just need to go over the scene, and I just need to get my mojo back," And we worked on the scene, and everybody. The director was totally fine with it. By the way, he actually talked to me before I went in, and he said, they were so mad at that actress. Like everybody was mad at her, and the actor that I was working with, he wasn't being a baby. He was just like, I need a minute, Mm-hmm. As a man, if someone pointed at your crotch and laughed at you, and then you had to do a love scene with them, would that be good for you?
I would be more mad. Someone would be so unprofessional.
Yeah.
To make a joke. I was in a movie once where an actress just kept talking, about other things other than what we were doing, and it was a very angry scene. And then she said, "Hey," she said, "I was just trying to tell you that you were such a good actor." And I said, "Thank you, but we have to work.
Let me be an actor."
And this was a very short scene, and I love this actress, honestly. I really do. And she's a doll. But it was a very short scene where you have to walk, you have to already be there. We were doing a pickup shot. For those at home, that's a little piece of the scene that they're putting in. And so you don't want to be getting your mojo up in the middle of the scene. You want to be there. You have to have your moment before really set, so by the time you're in front of that camera, you're prepared. They're not going to, wait for you unless you're some big star. And she got mad at me and didn't talk to me for a while.
Wow.
Because I never ever get angry at people. Maybe because it was a close friend and I was so surprised that she kept. So that's the worst response that I've ever had in terms of that. Mm. In terms of doing that. But I do find, I may disagree with you this, I do find the more you're on a set, the more comfortable you are, because and it's so different now than it used to be. It's changed so much. I just did a film a couple weeks ago. We were in this rented Airbnb house, and, all these people were literally half my age. And there's this one little camera. It's so small. Everything is so small now.
Isn't it amazing?
The lighting doesn't take any time at all. With these cameras, there's very little lighting set up. Everybody wants really natural lighting. And we did it. And, and I remember thinking that, oh man, I think I'm boring this. As I was playing a detective that was, the only two things they said about him is his voice is very low and he's very intimidating. So I did this thing and I went for it, and I'd never played this part before. So I was really focused and tremendous. And I even said to the director, I said, "Let me do this again." He said, "No, this was a great take." And I said, "No, I can do this better." He said, and after I did, he said, "You're right, you were better in this." But he didn't, they don't know. Right. I know me, but I wouldn't have said that years ago unless I'd been on a set so much. Right. Because I had the confidence to say, because everybody was half my age, and also I'd been on so many sets.
No, I love being on set. Yeah. Are you kidding me? I've been on a lot of sets. Mm-hmm. One of the other reasons I don't do on-set coaching, that I do it.
Good, because I think you
is because I have a lot of people who are dependent on me. So if I'm there for 8 hours,
yes, it's very time consuming, because making movie is very time consuming. It really is.
Yeah,
it really, really is.
Like I said, I am essentially on call 24/7, 7 days a week.
And it's
that was one of my students that called through while we were doing this.
And it's hand holding too, because it's scary. It is scary. It's about. Do you feel? To me, I feel the biggest thing that you need as I've gotten older is tremendous focus.
Yes.
To be able to get rid of all the outside noises.
Yes, that's a great point, Jason.
And relaxation is being relaxed.
And
how do you help people get those two things?
Oh, focus?
Focus, because sometimes, especially with this age of people constantly being on their phone.
Well, they're not allowed. That's the first thing.
How do you do that?
Well, they have to turn their phones off during class.
But a lot of them won't. They just can't.
They have to.
Off or just
on silent. And
but that still gives you the availability to look at.
Well, I shame them. Trust me.
Because some of them won't. They're just like, it's crazy.
I had this one. That's the other thing I was saying. How it's been from. I've seen the evolution of so many things. Cell phones. People are not present. And what I tell my actors every once in a while,
good point.
I come back and I talk about this again. And I said, you know what? When I talk about phones, they go, well, my boyfriend has to get in touch with me, blah, blah, blah. And I go,
or the mother that says, my kids have to be able to get a hold of it. Right. Well, when we were kids, my mother would say, hey, we'd leave it like...
There's a phone here.
Yeah, 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock in the morning after breakfast, we'd go out in the summer with our bike, ride our bike. She says, come home, in time for dinner. Or that we'd come home for lunch and then go back out again. And that would be it.
Well, I say to my students, well, tell all those people in your life, if you love me, I've paid money. I've worked to pay money to take an acting class where for 3 hours I am doing something for me to grow in my career and to grow as a person. Please respect that and don't bother me during that. Don't call me during acting class.
I'm not available, yeah.
I'm not available. I personally have started, when I go out to dinner with friends, leaving my phone in my purse. Used to be that thing where I would notice everybody would put their phones on the table when you sit down.
Right.
And a couple months ago, I was having dinner with a group of people, and we had the best conversation. And at the end, we went, why was this such a great night? And we realized we'd all been to see a play. We'd all turned our phones off and put them away because we were in the play, and we forgot to turn them back on. So we weren't looking at them.
Wow.
And we were engaged, and we were present. And I am concerned. I was watching a talk show recently, I won't say the name of it, where the hosts had their cell phones at the table and were like looking at stuff while they were on camera hosting a show.
Did you see Kanye West on TMZ when he had his breakdown, basically? And he's on there. Another woman's being interviewed after him, and he's still there. It's about what he's speaking about. And he just gets up, walks in front of her on the camera, and says, I need to talk to Harvey, talks to him. And before he was just sitting there on his phone as this other guest was talking. I mean, the whole time she was speaking on a television show. I was like, not even faking like he's interested in what she's saying.
There are a whole generation of people now who are missing the world because they are not looking up. And it concerns me so much, Jason. Mm-hmm. It really does. So when you talk about focus, I work on that a lot, and it does start with the phones.
Mm-hmm. Tell us your process in your class. Is it scene study? It's
everything.
Improv each class, or is each class different?
Yeah.
Or they are?
Every class is different. Right now, we're just finishing an 8-week character chunk. This week was really awesome and intense and amazing. I limit my class sizes, so if the classes get too big, I start a new one. Because in the past, I've studied with everybody. If they wrote a book, I took their class, and because I started as a child actor, So when people talk about Meisner technique, I sat in a room with Sanford Meisner and he yelled at me. You know what I mean? I
didn't know that.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know your history with acting classes.
And because I grew up here and I started here, and I had my first professional acting class when I was 7 years old with Lorene Tuttle.
Oh my God.
The old time actress, Lorene Tuttle. She would smoke did you take from Lorene Tuttle? Every kid in LA took acting class.
I know that name.
It was on La Brea. And
I don't think I took her.
She smoked a cigarette out of a cigarette holder the whole time. Darling, we're going to do this again this way. So she was fantastic, and I'm wearing a long scarf today because I'm channeling my Lorene Tuttle. So when getting back to the process of my class, one thing that I've taken away from a lot of the classes is that actors need to act and actors need to work. And it's my personal feeling.
Right.
Every acting class is different. I like actors to get up more than once a night in class. And so we warm up. We talk. Everybody talks about their week. We Talk about the business, gripe about the business. It's a big favorite with everybody.
So you let them share, hey,
Yeah,
I
I
had
had
this audition.
because people learn from each other's audition stories.
Oh, okay.
There was one creepy agent who pursued a couple people in class. There's this one theater in town that anytime anybody signs up for Actors Access or LA Casting, this theater reaches out to these people and tells them to audition for a play, and it's this horrible scam. So somebody always has fallen prey to that, so we can laugh about it and tell them not to do it. And whatever the theme is, whether we're talking about, during pilot season, there's many different cold reading techniques that I taught. So every week, we really focused on that particular one. The warm ups are all, they all coincide with whatever it is that the scripted work is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a theme, there's warm ups, there's a break, cold reading, and then if someone is always welcome to bring in, if they have an audition side, if they have a monologue, if they've got a scene that they've been working on outside of class, if they want to do extra work, they can come up to me and I'll assign them a scene. The one thing I don't let actors do is direct each other.
Oh, of course. So in your classes, do people do scenes, and when they do you assign them, or do they just do it if they want to? And
I assign them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And do they do it in total wardrobe and props?
It depends. We have at the studio an ever-growing costume and prop area where whenever people find funny things and they bring them in, and we even have a wedding dress.
No, the reason is I ask that is because I see a lot of classes that I've audited or gone to, and I see that people don't do the work in terms of, like, you'll see someone do Streetcar and she's wearing this contemporary outfit, and I always think when you do a period piece or you do something, there's a different way of walking from a different time. There's a different way of dressing. Sure. There's a different way of speaking. There's a tone to the scene, and I think people miss all that these days.
Well,
do you?
Well, costume is important. As a matter of fact, my class's assignment for next week is everybody has to come in dressed in a way that makes them uncomfortable. Whether it's someone who's always all buttoned up, a woman, and she's low cut top, or
someone who doesn't like to wear baggy clothes.
Yeah, so wear baggy clothes. So fight against your comfort zone. So it'll be fun to see that. We do that about once a year. It's a fun assignment. Here's one of my things. One of my big things. I don't let people mime in their scenes ever. You know why?
Because you hate mimes.
I hate mimes. One of my best friends is a mime. He really is. He's coming to your show tonight. But no, because mime is distracting in scene work, and I'm especially my biggest pet peeve. And it's funny because people stay in my class for years. And if there's someone in there who's known me for a long time and they see somebody mime in a scene, you hear like, because they know I'm going to go at them. Phones. Like when you're on a phone call.
Uh-huh.
Why would you mime a phone in this day and age?
Everybody has a phone.
And if you're going into an audition, turn your phone off and use it.
Right.
Why would you do that?
How about when you do tapes? I find that people feel when they're doing auditions on tape, or on film, or on video, however we want to call it now, we seem to use more props in a tape, and it seems to be okay, whereas we were always told never use any props.
Middle ground. Uh-huh. Never do so much that you take away from them. A tape should be all about your face and what's going on here, and a little bit of your body language. And if it's a similar thing to mime, actually. If there's so much business going on, it takes away from you.
I had a kid once that I coached, and I've coached people, but I never get paid. But I've done it just to be supportive because I think it's real important.
Well, sometimes I don't get paid, but that's a whole other story.
Yes, to pay it forward.
Actors are not good money managers.
But he was playing a dishwasher, and he was doing these tapes, and he insisted on using the dishes, and they made so much noise, and I said, "Don't do it," but he insisted on doing it. I have to say, it really helped him in the scene. It really helped him because I think it didn't become about the words; it became about his action.
I am a big fan in giving it's middle ground.
Yeah.
Find balance. Always find balance. It's the same thing with people ask, should I come in dressed, in the character? If you're playing a nurse, no, I don't think you should go in an entire nurse's outfit with a hat and a little Red Cross sash. But yeah, be nurse-like.
Don't wear an evening gown.
Right,
Yeah.
don't wear an evening gown or, flip-flops and shorts.
Right.
Indicate.
Yeah.
But really, the less your clothing is an issue and what you're wearing is an issue in an audition, the better. It should be about your face.
Right,
and
meaning an
what
issue,
you're doing.
not clothes that are distracting.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I would not wear what I'm wearing a scarf today. I wouldn't wear that to an audition.
Huh.
Like, even this, I think, is too much. I usually wear all in color.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. Indicate, yes, like I said, in the mood of what you're wearing, find balance.
Are you a big proponent of playing action in scenes?
Sure. Well, again, it depends. It depends on the genre.
Uh-huh.
You can't audition for a horror film and not play the action.
Right.
That's ridiculous because generally I have found that the scripts for horror films are very few words and a lot of actions and screaming and all of that. It just depends. In a self-tape,
it's always the hardest to do when there's being scared. I think being scared is the hardest thing to do because
and most
don't you think?
Most people, if you find the directions in self-tape nowadays, most people just want Head and Shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
They want.
But New Orleans, where I work out in the Southeast a lot, I have a South. They constantly want you to show your whole body.
They always want the slate shot. They want.
But I find here very rarely will someone ever ask for a body shot. They'll just say, put yourself on tape. And they want, when you come from the Southwest, they've got directions that are 3 pages long, of what to do. So it depends. And even the way you label them.
Atlanta.
Jesus.
There's one Atlanta casting director who I know her directions really well. And it's like.
They put it on it,
It's like a 3-part slate, man. You got to, wow. Why?
I think it's because they have a lot of people who are not professionals.
Right.
And I think that's how that started, and it just became their thing.
Yeah.
And now, certainly, it's become so
It's hard.
prevalent.
It's hard to film, when we're filming an audition, it's hard to film a slate shot that is both a full body and a head and shoulders. It takes some editing. You can't,
I just say, what I do is I just say, hey, I start on my face, and I say, now pull it away, pull the camera away, and show my body. Okay, this is how I look. Okay, great, thank you so much. And that's what I do. I don't try to pretend, I'm trying to, and that I'm some great cinematographer, and I can do it. I'm sure you probably do it better. But I just say, this is it. This is my body. And I use the QuickTime on my camera here. I use QuickTime right on my Mac.
Awesome.
Airbook.
So you tape yourself
right here on the same one that we're taping this on.
Who reads with you?
Whatever friend I can get to come over.
Do you ever do Skype? Or have
I have not done a Skype. I love the idea of doing a Skype.
That. I have actually another company called Instaudition.
Oh yes, tell us about that. This is your new thing.
Instaudition.
Insta?
It's INSTAUDI. Instaudition.
Okay.
Instaudition.com. And
is it an app?
It's a website.
Okay.
And you sign in there, and I have a lot of students who don't live here.
All over the world.
All over the world, and they have to self-tape, and they need someone to read with them. So I coach them and then read with them via Skype while they tape themselves. We have like a tutorial on there on how to self-tape. We even have like a shopping site where you can buy all the stuff you need to self-tape and the remote controls. It teaches you how to make a sight line for yourself. So you should find the tutorials.
I did it once in a hotel room because I had to send myself, and I thought, how am I going to do this? And I couldn't get anybody to read with me, so I called a friend, and I had him on my phone on FaceTime read with me while I had the computer do it. It was very bizarre, but it worked.
Actors are under the misconception that their self-tapes have to have bells and whistles and all. You just be an actor.
Yeah.
That's what they're looking for. They just want to see you doing the part.
And also, there isn't one rule for everything, too.
Because have good lighting. Good lighting's an important role.
Yeah. They have to be able to see you and hear you.
Yeah. Good lighting and good sound, and, be good. And also, here's one other thing. If we're on the topic, are we on the topic of self-tapes here?
Yes, we are.
I really think you should be memorized in a self-tape.
It is weird, yes. And there's ways to be memorized and not be memorized, too, if you're a great cue card reader.
Exactly, and if they're below you, yeah. Or,
I've used it because sometimes you'll literally get an audition that night and they want it in the morning. And how can how do you do all it's 3 pages and it's 3 scenes.
So
and
you do a cue card?
I do cue cards sometimes.
That's really smart, Jason.
Yeah.
My feeling on that is I always felt that you should bring a script in to the first reading because they're expecting, if you don't go with the script, they're expecting a performance.
I think so too.
If you have the script, they're expecting a reading and you have more chance of blowing them away. And then also, when you go into the room, you only have one chance. So if you get lost,
yes, if you get nervous,
screwed.
Yes.
So you should bring a script into your first reading. Not the callback, but the first reading.
No, so totally memorized for a callback.
It's nowadays much more expected. But on tapes, my feeling is, I mean, sometimes you can't. If you just got the script, you can't. But they know that you could do a million takes to get this right. So they expect more from you. They expect more product. Yes,
I think so too. And there's a way to do it. But I think I'm a believer in keeping the script in your hand because if you get lost, it's not that you get lost that's bad. What's bad is that it freaks you out.
Sure.
And then you lose your concentration, your focus. Instead, you can just pick it and just glance at the word.
Right.
So whether it's a callback for me, and maybe wrong.
I have brought scripts into callbacks.
You just glance.
A job.
Yeah, you just glance at it or hold it in your hand.
But when it gets to the point where you're doing like a network test or something like that,
different.
But so there's different standards for different ways of auditioning. That's another thing that's changed. So many auditions are on tape. I used to hate that. Now I kind of like it more.
I like it more too.
Yeah, because you have as many chances as you.
And then you look at yourself and what was I doing that thing with my eye? That's weird. Why am I doing that? I'm going, oh my God. Or you think that you did something in the tape and you go, oh my God, that didn't read. I thought I was doing it and it didn't read. So you learn to really be a better actor from the tapes too.
Yeah.
Well, this has just been so great. Now, if people want to get a hold of you as an actor or get a hold of you for your class or for your Insta tape.
Insta audition.
Insta audition, rather.
Yeah.
Insta audition. How do they do that? What's the name of your website?
theactorcircle.com.
Wonderful.
They can also find me on
Instagram
at MARCIE SMOLIN. MARCIE SMOLIN.
It sounds just like it is.
Just like my name. On Twitter at MARCIE SMOLIN.
Okay.
On Facebook, MARCIE SMOLIN.
So anyway, they can get a hold of you, and they have
on the telephone.
Like in the olden days, or it's just on your website. Wonderful. Well, this has been absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me, and you look very handsome today.
Oh, thank you. You look beautiful.
Thank you. I have good hair, right?
Yes, it's the best hair, but no one sees it.
I know.
Everybody, take care until next time.